Stand by.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of NMH at 1, where we bring you a local news recap from across the country. Dani and I ended off our show on Friday with a COVID, and now we're starting a new chapter here. So I'm Jareen Hoff, I'm from the Windhoek Express, and with me is Dani Boysen, the editor of the Republican.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is all about being short and sweet and sharing information.
Righto, and the top of everyone's mind today, of course, is most people that are heading back to work. And with that, the excitement of getting out of the house, and also good news in terms of a bit of petrol saving coming to us tomorrow.
Yes, my wife took this little video clip this morning when we were on our way to work. That was about at 7:30 this morning, and one could clearly see that traffic in Windhoek has really picked up. It's not me driving that fast, it's just the speed of the footage. And Jareen, yes, I suppose you saw the same thing, but unfortunately a lot of people, I think, still in public transport, a lot of full taxis with 16 people, etc., reported to us this morning. So it seems not all of us is following the rules.
Yes, and I also heard complaints about police pulling over people that didn't have masks. The problem with that, of course, is that not everyone has access to masks. But it is one of those things, and the government is saying that they will address it, so we are waiting in anticipation.
Yes, they announced this morning that they will publish a full list of where people can get masks in Namibia in terms of suppliers.
Righto, now we're going to have a look at our news now. Dani and his team looked at all the main news articles this morning in Kletskompas that celebrated their first birthday this year. Congratulations on that. But one of the very positive stories that I noticed that was in one of the further pages back in the Namibian Sun is a wonderful story of Justicia Shipena, who spoke about how special schools are taking on e-learning, which is a challenge in its own. Of course, at this stage, we're still waiting on news about the rest of the schools, but this was a wonderful start, and we're very excited about that. But now moving on to other national newspapers, this is also a new segment for us here. We are looking at what the other newspapers say. And first up is the Namibian that reported on the Fishrot 6 who lost their bid to get bail, and they are still sitting there. And then also in the new era, the Teachers Union of Namibia has made a call that the 2020 academic year be called off, including calling for students to be transferred to the next grade. Of course, we don't know how possible that will all be, but we'll keep you posted.
In Confidante, their last issue, of course, from last week, it's a weekly. It's all about the DBN corruption scandal. There are 120 million, and its managers at the bank who allegedly loaned money to front companies in which they were involved. In other news from the Namibia Press Agency, the Ministry of Health and Social Services will very soon announce arrangement in terms of Angolans that are still crossing to Namibia for medical assistance, and that follows a public outcry about alleged unnecessary movement while our borders are still closed. Julie.
Yes. Then we also have a short insert here on a video of the situation at the Oshevelo gate. Of course, people are allowed to move again, so things are busy all over the country. Okay. Okay, no, we seem to have lost that stream, but we thank our colleague Maggie Mbaka who sent us that earlier today.
There's lines and lines and lines of people there at
Waiting to start moving again.
Of course, close to Tsumeb on your way north. So please, if you have seen any interesting footage during the day, you can share it with us, and if it's good enough, we'll use it in the show.
Yes, thank you very much. Dani, you've got the latest stats on the COVID situation.
We're very quickly going to glance through that. This is up to the 2nd of May. That is official data for Namibia. This morning, of course, they did announce new dates, just very quickly there. By Saturday, 997 negative results and 1,122 samples. This morning, that number at the bottom moved up to 1,163. And Jareen, before we get to the next one, it's quite small print there, but since 14 March, average daily tests of 20 at this stage. Originally it was 16, so it's moving up a bit, and for the last 7 days up to 2nd of May, it's 42, so that's about a doubling. Then very quickly, we just looking at a map in terms of testing that shows the different districts in Namibia, so it's not regions. So the more red, the more tests have been done. And then also we look quickly at quarantine numbers in Namibia as it was on the 2nd of May at 8 o'clock in the evening when the daily report was done. So 259 people still in quarantine. On that specific day, Saturday, 19 people were released. 23 and 19 new people entered quarantine. You can see all the figures there for the regions. And we're still at the 50% recovery rate, 8 from 8. Jareen, just the numbers are a bit tricky also because it definitely seems that people are moving between the regions as well in terms of quarantine, and I think there's probably people want to be closer to home, etc. And then finally, just a poll there. We'll show it to you again. This was our online poll at NMH for all 3 hour dailies, and this was concluded over the weekend. And of course, lockdown level 1 is now something of the past, but you will just see there 49% of people who participated said they were home without any income, and 18% on top said they are working in essential services. And we started a brand new poll, and you can go to all our daily newspapers websites. We're quickly showing you the one on the Sun's webpage as it looks today, and it's about employment, and we are looking at employees specifically. So there's a multiple short list of questions you can choose from. I still get my full page in 33% on that is on the Sun at the moment. I have been or will be retrenched is the other 67%, but you can also indicate, are you or will you shortly work for less money? Are you earning nothing but your contract hasn't been terminated yet, or your employment has been terminated? In other words, just in layman's terms, you were fired. So please visit our daily newspapers websites and tell us what your situation is.
Right, Donnie, thank you very much for that. Of course, money is always a contentious issue. And while many people are still at least receiving a bit of an income, you saw on the stat itself, almost 50% of people are at home without an income. So one of the businesses that we spoke to that really is feeling the impact of the lockdown is very much the entertainment industry, of which iFun, everybody in Windhoek knows it, there in the corner of the SKW. My colleague Yolanda Nel spoke to Mariette Kraak. She and her husband are the managers there, and they have numerous challenges that are coming their way.
Bedryf, nee, hoe het die inperking julle besigheid geaffekteer in die afgelope tyd?
Wel, ons het al van die 14de Maart wat dit aangekondig is dat die eerste 2 mense siek is, het ons basies al begin kansellasies kry by iFund self. So van daardie tyd af het ons nou nie veel besigheid verder gehad nie. So ons het gelukkig kon ons daarom nog ons mense betaal aan die einde van Maart, maar as daar geen verdere inkomste is nie, dan sit jy nou vas aan niks en invoices wat jy nog steeds moet oploop en nog steeds moet betaal. So ons sit natuurlik nou in die bootjie van ons kan ons mense wat by ons werk verder nie betaal nie, al wil ons ook. So vir ons in daai opsig is dit natuurlik baie sleg, maar wat natuurlik weer die ander sy van dit is jy sien ook ten minste mense wat by mekaar kom, mekaar help. En jy weet ons staf, jy weet gelukkig het ons 'n baie mooi verhouding met ons mense. So hulle vra vir ons, kan ons net asseblief kom werk? Kan ons net asseblief werk toe kom? En nie vir geld nie. Hulle wil net ietsie doen en hulle sien ook en ons weet wat ons perseel behels, verskriklik baie maintenance. So ek het nou die dag daar gekom, toe was een van hulle daar gewees. Wat maak jy hier? Sê nee, ek moet net bietjie van die huis af wegkom, jy weet. So ja.
Maar julle het nou kospakkies vir julle personeel aangebied en loop uitdeel. Hoe was daai ondervinding vir jou?
Weet jy, dit was vir my baie humbling, as ek dit nou in Engels moet sê. Ons het Saterdag wat verby is, was ons payday, 25ste vir ons mense. Ons het nou natuurlik al 'n aansoek by die bank ingedien in die middel van die maand, om ons te help om deur te kom. Natuurlik die bank het ons eintlik aanvanklik gekontak en gesê, luister, ons weet julle gaan sukkel. So stuur vir ons in wat julle nodig het, maar natuurlik is hulle ook, het hulle soveel aansoeke, hulle sukkel om by almal uit te kom. So ons het baie goeie hoop dat hulle vinnig na ons sal terugkom, dat ons kan slaap in die nag en net ons mense kan betaal. Maar wat ons gekry het, is Sondagoggend kry ons 'n boodskap van een van ons mense wat by ons werk. En hy sê, Mr. Rick, can you please help me with $300? Me and my family, we have nothing to eat and we don't have any money. And sorry for the inconvenience and I didn't want to bother you guys. So, as jy so 'n boodskap kry, dan gaan sit jou hart in jou skoene, want hierdie is mense waarmee ons werk. Ons familie sit almal baie ver in die wêreld, en hierdie mense is ons familie. Ons werk elke dag met hulle. Ons maak grappe met mekaar, ons ken mekaar se lewens, ons doen baie van dinge saam. En as iemand vir jou so 'n boodskap stuur en jy besef wat die impak is van hierdie ding op huishoudings. En dan dink jy, okay, is miskien hopelik net hy. En ons het 'n kospakkie vir hom gaan pak en ons het vir hom die geldjies bymekaar gekry wat hy voorgevra het. En ons het hom ontmoet by 'n service station en dan praat ons bietjie en die ou is ontsettend nederig en hy voel so sleg dat hy vir ons gevra het vir hierdie geld, né? En dan praat hy en sê, luister, maar is daar dalk nog mense waarvan jy weet wat swaar kry? En dan begin hy vir jou name opnoem. En dan weet jy, hy praat nie, dis nie nonsens wat hy praat nie, want jy weet al bietjie ook wat is jou mense se agtergrond en so aan. En ons het toe besluit, Sondag, ons gaan nou 'n roep doen op ons familie, om ons te help in hierdie tyd, weet jy, want ergens moet daar iets vandaan kom. Ons het nie ergens heen om te gaan, die dinge by Social Security is ongelukkig nog nie up and running nie. Jy weet, die meeste van ons mense, ons het 23 mense in Windhoek, waarvan 4 van hulle daai $750 gekry het. En snaaks genoeg, die 4 wat dit gekry het, was mense wat dit eintlik die minste nodig gehad het van almal. So, daai ouens het dit nog steeds nie gekry nie. Vandag, jy weet, vandag het niemand verder nog van hulle enigstens daai 750 gekry nie. So gelukkig teen Sondag aand het ons familie gepledge al vir, was dit $24,000 en hulle het begin om oorbetalings te doen sodat ons die volgende dag daarna kon gaan om te gaan kospakkies koop. Nou om vir 23 mense kospakkies te gaan koop, jy weet, ons het nie so verskriklik baie geld het ons beskikking gehad noodwendig om vir almal voldoende te gee wat hulle nodig het nie. En almal het nie noodwendig dieselfde goeders nodig nie. Party mense moet krag betaal, hulle moet water betaal, daar is landlords wat van hulle verwag om iets te betaal vir huur. Van hulle het nodig om 'n geldjie uit te kry by iemand wat in die noorde is, want met die inperking mag niemand beweeg nie. Hulle kyk nie net na hulle self nie, hulle kyk na ander mense. So dit is iets wat ons ook in ag neem. So ons is nou, soos wat ons hier sit, as ek nou hier vandaan gaan, dan is ons besig om weer te gaan geldjies trek van geldjies wat nog ingekom het. Ons is besig om 'n kontantpakkie op te maak vir elkeen dat hulle net kan verder gaan en hulle dingetjies kry wat hulle moet.
Maar jy het baie sterkte en sterkte vir julle pad vorentoe. Ons hoop die inperking word gelig en dat julle besigheid kan voortgaan.
Ja, ons hoop ook so.
En mense, as die inperking verby is, asseblief gaan maak 'n draai by iFund, dis altyd lekker daar. En as jy nie by iFund wil wees nie, gaan ry bietjie go-karts.
Okay, asseblief.
Right, just to recap there, Mariette was uttering her frustration on the various social grants that have been put in place and that only some of her 23 staff members have received, and also how in the long run, just to keep their staff that is really like family going, they had to ask friends and family to please pitch in so that they could at least just go and buy food.
This is an extremely tough time for business, Jareen.
Yes.
If you're a business owner, it doesn't matter if it's a small or big business. Also, let us know how you experience assistance that has been announced and what your opinion is regarding the subsidy, for example, for loans and salaries.
Mariette was very thankful that they could reopen for business this week. Of course, they're following all kinds of protocols that have to be in place, including sanitizing your hands, wearing masks at all times, but they are glad that they can be open for business again from this weekend. Okay, our next stop is at the Ituku market in Walvis Bay, which over the weekend created a bit of consternation because a group of people came together with the hope of getting businesses going along, and in the long run it was only the one market that was open. Our office from Irongo sent this, Leandria Lowe, and she summed up the situation as follows.
Gudumano inalikisibwa bangani inadorusu ndamuntu wako marutu jero kwiki nengeke ndambara muno bantu yokudako ndeka chuma dokina kumbo okudi lego tu kuna ndiko maumbo ya kuna ndiko maumbo babu kuna ndiko maumbo hawa takulani wamatema hawa matama nufira indelineni hawa matama nufira indelineni okotuke mulikira apata ntolini baeni takere kuti akuli apawe napongerera achapoiza atopika indake umbo ousolani satunini bawe teke omatama yanga indandeni okotuke okutola kuti atukutola penie. Okay.
Scenes from the Kuta open market in Walvis Bay, Jareen, and it's evident the social distancing even there that was before today when level 2 of lockdown started is not being followed. It's almost 40 days, I think it's 39 to be on the dot, since a positive case of COVID-19 were reported in Namibia, but that does not mean that all is clear.
Yes, we're still waiting in anticipation, but we are hoping that it'll just get better from here. Righto, one of the groups that is really also very much impacted by this whole lockdown is churches. And our next insert is from Mikal Umar Neto, who shares at the moment Ramadan is being commemorated and what challenges they have in this time.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Like everybody else in Namibia, we, the Muslims and the Muslim communities, have also felt the dramatic effect of COVID-19 and the lockdown on our lives and livelihoods. Obviously, the economic and financial impact on our businesses has been hard. Many of us, if not all of us, are struggling to get through these times. However, we are optimistic and confident that things will get better. If we all stick together and work together, we shall overcome this unexpected challenge that has afflicted us. We are a community of faith, so it is painful for us as believers not to be able to worship in our mosques, something that is as natural to us as breathing air. But it has been especially hard for us in Ramadan, our holy month of fasting, which is now upon us. The fast of Ramadan is a command of Allah Azza wa Jal upon the believers and one of the 5 pillars of our faith. During the lunar month of Ramadan, Muslims all over the world abstain from food and drink and frivolous activities and intimate relationships from dawn till sunset. It is during these 30 days that we recite the Holy Quran in congregation, letting the message and revelation of God echo beautifully throughout the night as a testament to our faith and as an inspiration to mankind. It is a deeply spiritual time where we contemplate the
That footage was provided by Irene Marie van der Walt, one of our journalists working on our Irongo platform. Now, Jareen, over the weekend, not good news, but yes, we broke the news over the weekend that a man from Windhoek, from Simbabasia specifically, was arrested for alleged pedophilia and being involved with child pornography. Now, we can tell you that obviously all newspapers will tomorrow report on that. He did not appear yet in court. All our journalists were at court this morning, but the appearance apparently delayed until 2 o'clock this afternoon.
So that will be shortly. And then in other court news, the CEO of the Windhoek municipality has also dragged the councillors to court because he also said that the meeting that was called last week was in contravention with COVID and lockdown rules. So that story is also unfolding as we go along. There are scenes from the chaos in council chambers last week.
Yes, he also says that they irregularly appointed an acting CEO, so that is why he went to court on an urgent basis today.
Yes, we'll keep you posted on that. Also, watch online and our dailies for tomorrow. Okay, well, that's basically the end of the show. We're ending off with a weather report thanks to Quibus Buerta from weatherphotos.co.za. And then, as you will note, the weather at Luderitz is steaming hot. He says from today on, expect a heat wave. And that's it. And then at the end of the show, we're just ending on a very light note. Thank you, Donnie, for joining me today for our first show.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, keep safe, wear your mask in public, keep social distance, and wash your hands regularly.